Welcome to Pretty Entrepreneur. This is the podcast that peels back the onion layer on small business ownership and entrepreneurship, but from a woman's perspective. These stories are real, raw, and unfiltered, and they're told by extraordinary women. And we celebrate their highs, lows, trials, and tribulations, but most of all, their God-given purpose and talents that exudes them all. I'm Alicia Polk. I'm the founder and CEO of Hustle on Sunday and the published author of the Corporate Escape Planner and Workbook. If you yourself are a small business owner or an entrepreneur, this podcast is for you. Let's go. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Pretty Entrepreneur. And today I have with me Jauwrah Adams. She owns a restaurant called Jāda's Café out in central Pennsylvania. Hi, Jauwrah, how are you?
I'm doing fine today. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining me. We had some technical difficulties, everyone, so I was unable to get Jauwrah on the screen. So you see her picture, and please follow her. And if you are in the Johnstown, Central PA area, New York, New Jersey, you have no excuse. Philly, you ain't got no excuse. Stop by Jāda's Cafe. I'm super excited to talk to you. I know you've been in the restaurant business for a couple of years now, but I thought you had a pretty interesting story as to how you and your husband got started. And from my understanding, Jāda's Cafe is bumping, y'all. So if you're out in Central PA, you got to stop by Jāda's Cafe, and her name is on the screen as well as her restaurant and her Instagram. So make sure you follow her too. Where do you draw your strength from, though? Is it from your kids, your hubby? Like at the end of the day, you have to be drawing your strength from somewhere. We know it comes from God as well, but we need those tangible things too, right? Talk to me about
Yeah.
that.
My father was he was a family guy, and it was always about he always would speak highly of me, and it was always just the little things. Every little thing I did, he would always like speak like, that's my girl, that's my daughter. And he always will make me feel good about every little thing I did. And it just made me want to do something else. It made me want to try something new. And it just kept me wanting to keep going. And that's why I say to keep going. And that's where I draw my strength from. So every time I get tired and and I just say, oh my God, I don't know what do I do next, or how do I figure this out, or how do I do this? And I just remember what he would always say to me. He would you just keep going. I just always believed him. He was my superhero. So
I know you're talking to a daddy's girl. My father is no longer with me either. And it's funny how those little tidbits that he used to leave me still stick with me today. So is there anything that you might be taking from dad that you're applying to your restaurant business? What other advice or things that you watch your dad do that now you kind of see yourself doing and it's contributing to your success of Jāda's Cafe?
my dad used to study a lot. He
Hmm.
was a would always read and he would always study. If he didn't know the answer to something, he would always find the answer. If he didn't have it on hand, he would always create a circle around him of people that had answers. And then when he would learn something new, he would always teach it. He always had students. So he would always, every time he would get all this information, he would give it to somebody else. He never kept it to himself. Everything he got, he would get all the good information from people, and then he'd give it to somebody else. When I went into the barbershop and I told him, he said, I know your dad. And he pulled out a piece of note that with my dad. I said, yes, that's my dad's handwriting. He said, I know your father. And I was like, wow, he knew my dad. And that made me feel good that other people knew my father and that he was just passing around knowledge to everybody that he knew, that he came in contact with. And even after my father had passed away, I didn't it helped me not to feel alone in the new town.
Jada's Cafe would never have existed if your dad didn't pass away. Did I understand that story correctly?
That is true.
Talk to us. We gotta, you gotta share that one.
Every time I see him, the coolest man on the block. So he would walk down the block to the cafe, come in and get his cup of coffee and sit out on the bench outside. That was like his favorite cafe. But when I walked down, I never knew who owned the cafe. I later on went to get my hair done and found out about the cafe on the corner. So somehow God bless me, and I end up I end up
Wow.
So, my husband said, so I said, what would I name this? He said, name it after Jāda. I said, that's great. We're gonna name it after Jāda. So we named
Nice.
Dad's Cafe. So that was my way of holding on to him after he passed. He passed suddenly as soon as I got here, and next thing you know, my daddy was gone. He left with a smile on his face. So,
Wow.
and I was here. That's what he wanted. He talked me into it.
Let me make sure I got this story correct. Your dad was ill and you
Yes,
were living in New York.
yes, I
And then
was.
you were pregnant at the time?
Yes, I was pregnant at the
Wow.
time,
Okay.
and having a back and forth, 5.5 hour drive, driving back and forth, making sure he got his doctor's appointments. And
Wow.
I found out that he had cancer. He had lung cancer, but he didn't want to tell me because he didn't want to upset me. He didn't want me to be looking at him and worrying over him like that. And
Like, where has God shown up?
with being on a corner in an area like in Moxham, where they say that Moxham is such a bad area, we have people from all over the place. I have met people from out of town that's come here from places like Connecticut. I have did like comedy shows and people from Pittsburgh comes out here. People from all over the place. I have met people from Ohio. I have met people from other states, Ligonier. I have met people from various places that will pop into the cafe and I'm like, you from here? No, I'm not from here. But I saw your cafe. I pulled it up and your cafe came up and I'm like, wow. And
Wow.
they have, we got some other people. We let them know that y'all out here. So I be meeting people from all over the place. So, it's interesting that I meet a lot of new family, new people. When they come out, I always ask them what their name is because I want to meet people according to what their name is. And because once you walk through my door, you become family to us.
You have people coming from all up and down the East Coast mostly to see you. What are they asking you for?
Well, right now we be getting orders like for the shrimp po' boys because I had a
Wow.
customer. She's one of the cousins that's been out to like New Orleans. She be coming from, because I believe she was from New Orleans when she came in one day, but she didn't eat meat. So she told us to make her a sub, but with shrimp on it. So she told us how to make it. And then after we made it, she told us what it was. And I said, what is a shrimp po' boy? And then she told us about the dish and where it came from. It's a New Orleans
Mhm.
with the shrimp and then the little hot sauce. And then my husband decided to create a sauce called, and we named it the ooey sauce. Okay,
Okay.
now it's ooey sauce. It has a little spice to it. It's a nice little sauce, though.
Yeah.
So it was created directly out of Jāda's Jazz Cafe, so you ain't gonna get it nowhere else. And we added it to the shrimp po' boy. So our shrimp po' boy does not taste like any other shrimp po' boy you're gonna find anywhere else. So we have customers that come in and ask us to create dishes, and we add our own little stank on it. And that's how we come up with some of the dishes. Our customers give us some ideas from some stuff so that when we serve the customer, we serve them for things that they request on their own.
Give her your dish ideas, and I want to watch Mustafa work. So he's your backbone, I take it. So God not only blessed you with an amazing dad, he blessed you with an amazing husband who works with you. Tell us about that.
Oh yes, well, Mustafa is a chef out of New
Wow.
York because he worked in various restaurants in New York, and Madison Square Garden is one of the biggest one. And he creates, because of he has a lot of expertise in sauces, so he creates a lot of the dishes and the sauces. And he samples a little things, and then he lets some of the customers taste them and tell us what they think about them, so that it's fun because the customers pretty much tell us. And Mustafa he's pretty good at what he does. He's really good at what he does. He's good at how he seasons his seasoning. I cannot duplicate the seasoning. And I try to tell the people I do not season. All I do is put it on the heat. That's all I'm doing. Trust me. It's not me. I eat. That's what I
No,
do.
I love that. So, mom, wife, entrepreneur slash restaurant owner. Tell us about the days where you're unsure?
Well, sometimes, it gets quiet. Before I got into the restaurant business, I was always doing something else. I was always an entrepreneur. I always looked for another way to make a penny. I believe in making my coins. I always have to find a way to make a coin, and I use my hands because I was in New York, and we always have to make a buck.
Mm-hmm.
So I was always making like bags with my hands. I make leather bags, and I make them. I get on my sewing machine and I had to make it work. And when we got here and the cafe came open, I focused my attention on the cafe because I knew I had a chef on my hands. And though it was always more like a donut coffee shop, I can't have a donut and coffee shop when I got a chef on my hands. So we had to expand it into something bigger than that.
Wow.
And it was always, for me, how can I put it out there to make sure that people got the opportunity to experience what we had to offer? So we just had to trust in our creator to get us out there. With different and working through different venues and linking up with the right people and the footwork and working for, because we work from our own funds. That's and sometimes it gets a little scary. It does. Mm-hmm. But like my dad said, just keep moving. So I can't stop now. And I have 2 girls, our little minions that sits there and watches us. And we have an order. They come in the kitchen to help us.
Aww.
They know how to make peach cobbler. They know how to mix a sweet potato pie. They know how to make a banana pudding or a strawberry banana pudding. They know how to stand there and watch. They stand there and watch when you're seasoning and getting the chicken ready. They know how to do these things because that's what they're in there to learn. Mm-hmm. This doesn't have to be their choice of profession, but it can be something that they have under their belt. Mm-hmm. For them to learn. And it's because my desire is for them to be an entrepreneur, and an entrepreneur has a basket of things around them. They're not stuck in one place because you don't never know what's going to drop out the sky for you later. You don't never know where you're going to end up. You never know what you're going to need. So you got to have a tool belt of things around you as an entrepreneur. You got to be ready to spin that belt around and pull out whatever tool you need in order to survive out here. And we're women. We got to be ready at all times. And I have to prepare them. So I have to expose them to various things. So they're exposed to cooking. They're exposed to sewing. They're exposed to knowing how to do hair. They're exposed to multiple things, and I have to continue to do that. So when my daughters tell me, Mom, I want to be like you, I say, I want you to be better than me. So in order for them to be better than me, I have to give them something to look up to. So I got to keep moving. I can't stop. And this is my life. Mm-hmm. Until one day, it'll be theirs.
You said 2 things. The first thing you really said was the strawberry banana pudding. And I said, wait a minute, but that's a whole nother Oprah show. But I'm on my way. But I want to talk about the entrepreneurial tool belt. When did you learn that was so did Dad teach you that as well? That's some powerful stuff.
It's just something that crosses my mind. Now you have, instead of a hammer, you have a tool here. It may be as a hairdresser. Then you have a nail technician. Then you have a lash technician. Then you have a person that does hair. Then if you spin that belt around again, you can have a welder, because I've also welded. So you can turn it around again. They have something else under their belt that they have worked. But you have to have various things. It's like almost like the tool belt is almost like a resume of various things that you can do. You gotta be prepared for something.
Yeah.
So you gotta moving and you have to educate yourself in more than one place so you're not stuck. You can't be stuck in one skill because then you prevent yourself from moving forward. If you look at my resume, you would assume that I'm only do customer care. No, I cannot. I do way more than that. Like I said, I can do belts. I braid hair. I also can, like I said, I make bags. I can also go in that kitchen too and cook. I can also go in the house and I can tear down a wall and I can put a wall back up. I can also make forward commercial and I can do a whole lot of stuff because I have been and put myself in various places where that if I was in a position where I had to make some money, I'm gonna bring some coins home.
Yeah, I love that mentality about you. I think that a lot of people are going to watch this, to be honest with you, Jauwrah, and they're going to be like super duper charged because you just bring that energy, to the conversation. How was it for you growing up? Where did you know when you were a child you were going to be in entrepreneurship, or what did you think you were going to do?
Younger, what did the very first thing I wanted to be when I was a little girl is I wanted to be a dancer. I wanted ballerina dancer. The teacher came over to me. She smacked me on my behind and told me I could not be a dancer because my butt was too big. Yes, she did, and I was about 11 years old, so I felt some type of way. But I didn't understand that as a little girl. And my mother was a construction worker. She laid. Wow. She was a painter and she was a mechanic. I remember watching my mother come home and she always was all greasy with a big old helmet on her. And I remember thinking, like, I wish my mother would just sit down and type. So when I went to school, I focused on typing.
Okay.
What I used to think about when I seen my mother. So my mind focused on typing. So today I type 50 to 60 words a minute.
Wow.
Because that's what I focused on. Then that's what I wanted my mother to do. Now I ain't fixing nobody cars. I ain't doing none of that. And I ain't about to lay nobody bricks because I ain't about to go so high because I don't like heights. So I'm not about to be out there laying nobody bricks. No, no. But I'll paint though.
That is so funny. So the traits of you being able to tear down walls truly comes from your mom.
Came from my mother.
That is so cool. I think that's pretty amazing. You just didn't understand it when you were younger. That's all. Yeah. Yeah. You just didn't understand it.
To watch my mother build. My mother's a builder. And she used to, like, she would build bunk beds. Like, we didn't buy bunk beds when we were little. My mother would go and get 2x4s and stand in our room and build it. She didn't have no instruction. She would literally build. My mother would build it from sight.
That is so, I think that's a talent. That's a gift. I love it. I think that is really unique. Tell us what advice you would give another female entrepreneur who might be up and coming in the restaurant business, or maybe she hasn't even started it yet. What advice would you give an up and coming female entrepreneur, Jauwrah, that's considering going into a restaurant business of her own? What have you learned?
Keep going. Would tell you to keep going because, everything starts with a dream. And to keep your dreams alive, you have to keep going. It gets hot in these kitchens sometimes. You get your towel, you wipe that sweat off your head, girl, and you just keep on moving.
One last question for you, and then I promise I'll let you go. Tell me, is there anything else about entrepreneurship or owning your own business that you want to share with us?
I think that the best thing when you start out to owning your own business, once you branch everything out, the best thing to get into is marketing and branding. And the marketing is a big thing, and branding is the big thing. You have to be very careful with social media. You have to be very careful with your presence on social media and how you put yourself out there. It's such a real huge part how you present your business and yourself and who you are and how you show up, how you tell your story, how you tell who you are and what you want the people and how you want the people to see you in your business. You don't want to just exist. You don't want to just be there.
Right.
So in order for them to want to come to you, you have to set up a certain presentation to put out there to draw them to you. you're coming home to your dining room or your living room, and it's almost like sitting down listening to music and putting your feet up and getting served.
I like that.
When they come into my cafe and they get ready to get up, you want me to put this up? Don't touch that. You here. We do service. You don't touch that. You come here, you eat, you get up, and you leave.
I love
you
that.
Tell me before you get served, because I want to, and before they leave, I want you to say your name again. So I want to make sure that I remember you. So when you come in my door, I'm going to address you according to your name. I'm not going to say, how you doing? No, I'm going to address you according to what your name is, because I want you to remember my name when you leave. And when I see you on the street, I'm going to talk to you like we homies. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. That's my full intention. And if I see you in the supermarket, I want to talk to you like that. How you doing, Sally? What's up, son? What's up?
I know you attract so many customers like that. I mean, your personality in general, that homie, you're my homie, friend, family feel on top of it, and good food, like you just can't go wrong. I know the person who referred me to you, or referred us together to do this interview, she said, you got to talk to the owner of Jāda, Jazz. She said, she is absolutely amazing. Her story, she's just so down to earth. And you have been all of the above, everything that she told me you would be in this interview. So I appreciate you. And I thank you for joining me today. Thank you so much.
Awesome. It was great talking to you.
It was fun. I had a good time. And I'm coming to visit. I want to get me some of that Jāda Jazz. Do you have macaroni and cheese or no? I want to put you on the spot.
Get a heads up. And I got your strawberry banana.
Oh my goodness. I'm on it. I'm on it. So on it. I gotta come out that way anyway, because I want to visit someone else that's opened a not an Airbnb, but like a hall, an event center. So I want to come and visit that. So definitely you are on my map. Okay.
Then come on with your pink, and I could do some pink with you.
I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Thank you so much, Jauwrah. You were the bomb. Have a good night. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.
If you enjoyed today's podcast episode, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more inspiring stories of faith, resilience, business, and God. Remember, every entrepreneur and small business owner has a story worth telling, and every story should be shared with the world. Until next time, keep building, keep believing, keep praying, and keep trusting God's plan for your life. See you later.